Yes, that is 50,000 HP on Ajax. And weirdly enough, this is also Ajax nuking enemies with an ability spam build. But at the same time, yes, that is also 100,000 defense. What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new First Descendant video, taking a look at the best tank in the game, Ajax, the Juggernaut. I never thought I would enjoy him, but oh my god, after playing Kyle to then switch to Ajax, buddy, Ajax is far superior in every shape and form, and ceilings aren't his weakness. I have two builds for you here today, and maybe a third where you can just change and augment here and there to then be a support for the team. So let me go over his kit for you to understand how he works. He is one of the descendants that has a unique resource bar, but this resource bar isn't used to activate abilities, but rather to enhance them. So when Ajax uses an ability, it fills up a single bar of the void meter just beneath his mana. And once these 3 bars are filled, your abilities will now have a blue glow, signifying that they are enhanced. Using either of these in this state will change some of their properties and functionality, from improving damage or providing a unique buff. This enhanced state is not permanent, so use the ability whenever you feel like it's the right time. The enhanced timer has a base of 10 seconds, but can be increased with mods. And when you use an ability in the enhanced state, the cycle continues, as it depletes your entire void bar. His abilities are both dimension and tech. His defensive abilities are dimension, while his offensive ones are tech. His first skill, Orbit Barrier, has Ajax place a barricade that blocks incoming fire. However, it's not absolute. If you're standing right next to it, you will take some splash damage. If enemies shoot at this barricade, that damage is then reflected back to them. But when enhanced, this reflection damage is further increased, scaling off a portion of your HP, defense, and skill power. It is affected by range and duration, however, has an augment that alters its field time to scale with HP. Void Walk has Ajax leap forward and land with a heavy impact, dealing damage around him while also stunning enemies. This ability increases your max shields in its enhanced state. The third ability, Expulsion. Ajax releases a shockwave that knocks back enemies while also dealing damage. The damage and range are increased in the enhanced state. And finally, the fourth ability, Ajax turns into a Void Titan, holding down a point in Iron Banner. This bubble protects himself and allies from incoming enemy fire. This dome, however, does not protect against enemy AoE, splash damage, or pools of fire or toxin. The best part about this skill is that in its enhanced state, it grants everyone increased firearm and explosive attack, so your guns deal more damage when shooting within the bubble. The two main builds will use augments to enhance the builds even further. Good thing is that both of these augments are available for both versions of Ajax. Body Enhancement is what I will use to get that 50,000 HP and basically become a beast of a tank. This removes his regular passive, so he can no longer enhance his abilities, but increases his defense and shields proportional to HP. So you want to stack as much HP and shields onto this build to further increase your HP. Also, Body Enhancement can ping pong off of overwhelming HP, so the more shields you have, the more HP is given. When using overwhelming HP, it converts those shields into HP and sets your shield value to 1, so you are a bulwark of health and defense. However, if you like having a large shield pool instead, you can go without this augment and have both HP and shields. It's still a large EHP nonetheless. While the other augment is Void Charge, this augments your second and third ability to scale off defense, and when used in their enhanced state, the ability cooldown is then refreshed, so it turns into an ability spam build. However, it does change your third ability from Tech to Dimension, but this isn't an issue at all because it synergizes with one of the mods to make the build even more spammier. So let's take a look at some gameplay loop, interesting Ajax tech that I've learned to show you how these builds function. So with showing you the gameplay loop, I'm also going to show you some nice, interesting Ajax tech that can help you improve your gameplay, especially when it comes to mobility and carrying out your momentum. For example, grapple into your jump, and then using your second skill. This will, of course, increase the distance you've traveled. Not that fast of a character, he's a big guy. You're gonna have to use your abilities properly. Look at that. I want you to pay attention to the boon section of my character. So whenever I cast something, like right there. You see? Those are the boons. When I cast an ability, I want you to pay attention to the different types of buffs that you're going to be seeing there. Now, what I'm showcasing here is the Void Charge build. It's the augment that enhances the second and third skill. And with that, it changes my third skill to Dimension rather than Tech. And if I'm using Multi-Talented, it grants me a cooldown reduction buff, which can then snapshot to any of my other abilities. With that, I can chain some of my abilities even more. So let's have a look at this. Third skill, second, to another second. Now I have enhanced abilities. I can use these enhanced abilities to buff my next attack. Huge. There you go. Going in for my second. And another one. Look at that. One shot all those guys. Now, the great thing is when you use a tech ability, which is my second skill, it increases the damage and range of my other abilities. So usually, you want to cast a tech skill, now you get that range buff. You're able to hit more enemies with your third, because your third doesn't have that great range, but it has more range when it's enhanced. So you want to make sure when you're using your third skill for bigger damage and range, it's enhanced. Just like that. And when we use our ability when it's in enhanced state, we get it refreshed. Thanks to that augment. All right, now that you have an idea of how this works, let's show you how the tanking, giga tanking build looks like. So with the giga tank build, let's go into a Colossus fight. Now that build is not known to have a lot of damage, but it's known to have a lot of survivability. Now the unfortunate part about the tank build is that whenever you start a mission or whenever you enter a zone, your health is going to be reduced in half, but you would always have to regenerate. If you have a look right now, we just lost half of our HP. 32k is a lot, but we still have 20k more to get that juicy 50k. Unfortunately, even if you use this, it doesn't replenish your health. So let's see how much damage this guy can deal to us right now with this much health. Huh. Cute. I mean, we are losing health, but still, we're quite tanky. Let's kill these guys. Let's see if they drop any health. Get some reflect over there. Unfortunately, this guy can't aim unless he's using the enraged missiles. You see, your dome does not protect you against splash damage. I like to use this tanky build, especially when I'm going into solo infiltrations. Those little dungeons there. Right there. Finally, we got to 50k HP. See, guys? We're tanky. Ugh. So yeah, that's the aimbot attack that he does, and we tanked that easily. Now with the support build, let's see if we can enter a public intercept. This is going to be hilarious. So I'm going to see if I can support my public teammates and if my teammates are actually going to utilize my barrier and bubble. Let's see. I'm guessing Glay and Alepic, but bunnies. Bunnies. I should have known. Hey, we got Alepic. Oh, it's half right. I'm good. I'm good at this game. Who's going to utilize my bubble? Well, no one. Pretty huge. Yeah, I'm gonna use this ability right now to enhance my damage. Aha! You can't do anything. Oh! Alepic is using it. Huge! Guys, we're supporting the team. Or the one guy. Can I protect my bunny? It's okay. We put that there and we res the bunny. What? Bro. Oh, so I understand how people feel like when they're cute damage, buddy. Nice, you staggered. Good job. Break the thing. Well, we're gonna die now. But Gaudi, Tommy, come to me. Yes, teamwork. He died. It's okay. Wait. Why did? Well, yes, that's the public lobby experience, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let's go take a look at those builds. Showcasing the Giga Tank build first, and then we're going to go into the spammy build. And then finally, all you're going to do is switch and augment, and now, boom, you're doing the support build, because now you can actually use your passive. But you do lose 20k HP in the process of doing that. I'm running a Dimension Reactor just for the tanky build. It does have Enduring Legacy mounting, but have a look at that skill cooldown and duration up. So this is the same reactor I use for my Enzo build. If you haven't seen that, do go check that out. The duration does help maintain your first and fourth ability. And then when we go over to the components, the components do not have a set bonus. However, we're looking for the main stat and the substat to further boost our health. Starting off with the auxiliary, you want to have main stat HP and substat HP. I'm not sure how much of an HP difference it is from the open world auxiliary compared to the Polar Night set auxiliary. And moving on to the sensor, this is the one you get from open world. Make sure you're in hard mode and track it. This gives me main stat HP and substat max MP and MP recovery. This is going to be very useful, especially to help you maintain your abilities and use them when you need to, because he also uses mana. And then moving on to the memory, I do have main stat HP and then substat defense and MP recovery modifier. This boosts my MP recovery, especially if you pair it up with the MP recovery in combat. But of course, having more defense is always useful. I have nearly 50k defense, but 40k defense is just fine. Then finally, the processor, also from open world. This has main stat HP and substat max shield, because having shields also feeds into having HP. So this is what you want for your main stats and substats for the components, because it doesn't really need to use any set bonuses. For those thinking about the bravery set, you can use the bravery set, but unfortunately, if you want Giga HP, the bravery set is not going to give you that. And now taking a look at that build. It does look pretty funny, but it will make sense. For the augment, I'm using body enhancement. As it states, void energy is no longer available through Event Horizon. If you look at the passive, I no longer get the void energy buffs, those 3 bars to enhance my skills. I don't have that anymore. However, I get increased defense and shields proportionate to my max HP. So what do we do then? Increase the HP with Steam Accelerant and increase HP. To further boost my HP, I'm also using the augment and increase shields. And for even more shields and health on the side, I do have time distribution. This reduces my cooldown, but also gives me some HP. And this gives me 51% range, but also boosts my shields. Granted, having more range with skill expansion is definitely better because it increases the size of your dome and everything. To be honest, we want more health. So yeah, that's why I went with amplification control. It gives me, it's a 2-in-1 thing, so I'll take it. So having those shields on me, they're going to be converted into health thanks to overwhelming HP. Do not confuse this with overwhelming shield. They're two different things. This takes all your shields and grants a percentage of that and turns them into HP and leaves you with 1 shield. So have a look at what we have right now, 50,000 health. Once we remove overwhelming HP, save, that health goes down to 30,000. You see how that works? So again, do not confuse it with overwhelming shield. This is for Enzo and other shield tanks. Boom. And when we replenish our health, we're back to 50k health, just like that. So this is why this is so important. And finally, I do have focus on non-attribute and focus on dimension. Not only that, both of these reduce the cooldown, so we're able to cast the abilities. And finally, some added defenses. And this is how we do our Giga Tank Ajax. Now let's take a look at the bouncy big damage with the second and third ability. For the reactor, slightly different. This reactor, I'm running a tech reactor to boost my second skill. You can still use a dimension reactor if you want to boost your third skill even more, but I want to focus a bit more on my second ability because the third ability already has really high multipliers. So the main thing that you want in this reactor is skill cost reduction and skill cooldown reduction. Unfortunately, I did not get it in gold, and unfortunately, I didn't get it on a weapon that I wanted to get it on. So we got the final masterpiece. Final masterpiece is a pistol. Now, it's not so bad of a pistol. Sorry, that was just a little bit of copium. It's actually, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But I'm using this as a stat stick. Unfortunately, you don't want to have bonus firearm attack against whatever. Crit rate would be a lot better. So crit rate, crit damage, weak point damage, rounds per magazine, firearm attack, elemental damage, whatever you want. Taking a look at the build for final masterpiece. It's very simple, not really finished yet, but we're still working on it. We have some base damage over here, crit chance, crit damage, magazine, more magazine, fire rate, and a defense master. Listen to this. When defeating an enemy, defense is then increased by 128% for 10 seconds. So every 15 seconds, you're going to get a massive boost in defense. And the best part is that you don't have to kill an enemy with the weapon, but your abilities count. You just have to have the weapon active. So if I kill this enemy right here with my skills, you can see I get that defensive buff. And we look at our defense right now, we have a lot. So why do we need all this defense to get this build going? It's because of the augment that affects the damage based on your defense. So let's take a look at the components real quick. The components, starting off with the auxiliary, main stat defense, substat HP, and now the bravery set, which gives me that juicy HP recovery and max HP. Main stat defense with max MP and MP recovery in combat. Amazing combo. And the memory, we got defense, main stat, shield recovery, and substat defense. And then finally for the processor, main stat defense, max shield substat with shield recovery modifier. We're pretty tanky even though we don't have that much health or shields. But the best part is that we're going to be nuking all the enemies all together. Alright, so let's demonstrate this. I'm going to cast my second skill. Boom. That's our damage. 1 for 2. Blah, blah, blah. We'll kill an enemy. We get that defense buff. And our damage went up slightly because we got more defense. So having that bonus defense from Final Masterpiece is a slight damage increase and also nice to have. Now let's take a look at the build. We got Void Charge as the augment, as it states right there, modifies Void Walk and Expulsion damage to increase proportionally to defense. If we have a look at the abilities right now, you can see right there, skill effect, just under skill effect, you got damage modified by skill power modifier and your proportional to defense. And when we move over to the third skill, it does change the dimension, as you can see. It also scales from defense, but it has a very high skill power modifier at 1000 compared to the second ability. And that's why I decided to go with Tech Enhancement, because the third skill already has a lot of damage coming from it. It's just lacking in some range, paired with Focus on Non-Attribute. So this one buffs both of these, but Focus on Tech improves the second ability. On top of that, it gives me that skill cooldown. Pay attention to how much skill cooldown we have. With MP Conversion, we got 36% skill cooldown, and with Multi-Talented, you when using a Dimension skill, which the third ability converts to, grants us minus 20%. Sorry, 20.5%. I know it's a wall of text, you have to read it carefully. And when using an active tech skill, skill range and power modifier is then increased. And that's how we're able to buff our second skill quite a bit. So when you use the third, you get that buff. You can chain your second ability to another second ability to a third skill, cast it again, and rinse and repeat just like that. I did have MP Collector here before Focus on Tech, and I realized I wasn't running into any mana issues, especially if you're killing loads of enemies, especially if we have that MP recovery and max MP. Very, very helpful. But I also do have a little bit of skill cost with my Frugal Mindset to increase the range and skill cost from the Reactor. And finally, instead of Steam Accelerant, I'm running Battle of Stamina because I don't want to lose any more mana. But then I do have increased shields for some additional EHP and lastly, HP. So we're decently tanky. We have some defense. I mean, we have a lot of defense, sorry, and a decent amount of HP. So we're quite tanky and we're able to spam our abilities fairly well. But just remember, cast a Dimension skill to get that skill cooldown so you can chain your second ability quite a lot. And if you want to enhance your third skill right now in its enhanced state, paired alongside Multi-Talented. And lastly, for the support build, all you're going to do is take the same Giga Tank build with the same components and everything. All you're going to do is replace that augment with Life Barrier. That's it. Life Barrier now converts into HP scaling. So if you were to read the augment, modifies the Orbit Barrier and Hypercube, that's the first and fourth, to be only affected by the caster's HP. So having a lot of HP is beneficial for this build. Not only that, you get access to your Void passive. So casting abilities like that, you cast that, and then finally your fourth skill will be active and enhanced, so you get that firearm attack. Now the downside of using this augment, it does get rid of that explosive attack increase. That 20% explosive attack increase is now gone, and you're only left with firearm attack. Now for those who like to use rockets and everything, it's unfortunate. But if you want your teammates to survive a bit more, you can always run Matrix Recomputation. Now when you use this ability on allies, you give them shields and defense. so making them a bit more tankier, pretty much damage reduction at that point. So it's up to you whether you want to run Life Barrier or Matrix. That's a long-ass name, I'm not saying that. I just ran out of gold, so I couldn't max this one out. So that's literally it with the support build. Either run Life Barrier or Matrix. Anyway, folks, that has been it from this Giga Ajax build loadout. I gave you 2 builds with, and the last one just a little... You just switch the augment. But it's fine. You can take these builds out and just feel like a beast. A big, dominating force on the field. Not fazed by anything. Looking at your teammates as they're on the ground. Begging you to help them out. And you're like, bro, what? But being an Ajax player, it's your duty to res that fallen bunny. It's always a bunny. I don't know why. But anyway, folks, that has been it for me. I do hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. And if you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more First Ascendant content streams and so much more. Do it for the description. Trust me, just have a look at the description. A lot of people asking questions that are answered in the description. Go check it out. But yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, a peace. Bye-bye now.